This is the 6th episode I've done in this wee car. What better a way to celebrate than putting 6 gears in it? So it's probably wise for us to just take a wee moment and explain why. Why 6 gears over 5? So the first thing we need to note is the 6-speed and the 5-speed actually top out at more or less the same speed. If anything, the 6-speed actually tops out slightly lower. So why would we do that? Well, as we know, the MX5 is not a high-speed car. I want it to be drivable at mid-range low speeds, particularly low speeds at the moment because of the auto testing. So I've made a chart which is completely ineligible.
Yeah.
Illegible? Illegible.
It's not bad, it's actually okay. It's
Well,
fine.
here's basically what we're looking at. Something like that. Black lines are the 5 speeds, red lines are the 6 speeds. That's the sort of peak RPM, the speeds that they'll do in each gear. We'll get to that. So yeah, doesn't need any more explanation. But obviously, I'm going to give you that anyway. So first gear, as you can see on the 6-speed, tops out at 31, whereas the 5-speed's 36. So there's not really much in it. But the crucial point to note is that I've got more RPM to play with in second gear because that tops out at 51, whereas the 5-speed tops out at 62. So what I've done is move my power band into a lot more of a usable range at low speed. The lower down that is, the more power it gives me. And also don't forget, the quicker that accelerates, i.e. the sharper that graph is, the more torque it's going to give me because I'm actually using more engine power to generate less speed, which will in theory make it a bit quicker. That's what I'm looking for here. It is another way of tuning an engine without actually touching the engine at all. If we change the ratios without really even affecting the final drive, we generate more power. So that is the reason why. All of my first, second, third gear stuff, that's all moved down the RPM range, which means I've got more power to play with. Right, and if you don't understand that, write in the comments and somebody smart than me will explain it.
Well, I suppose the thing is at the moment, second gear is almost too tall for you, isn't it?
Well, yeah.
You don't actually, you're stuck in this kind of band between first and second all the time.
So what you'll have noticed from the videos and the auto testing is I'm pretty much stuck in first all the time. But on the faster sections, i.e. the bits between the cones, there are times where I'm hitting an RPM limit. So if I can get into second gear quicker, that means that I've got more RPM to play with before I top out. I can also leave it in second if I'm coming down and I know I can keep power on without having to come to an almost stop. So it just gives me more gears to play with and a better range to work that with. That's the theory. I mean, realistically, those ratios are still quite close, so it might not pan out that way. But more than anything else, it'll just give me that wee bit more oomph in the gears without going to a turbo.
Because I suppose at the moment, like, you almost need a gear in between first and second.
Yeah,
and that's exactly what the 6-speed does. Is it gives you a kind of
a 1.5
second gear
gear
is kind of in between, which is perfect for the speed you're doing on autocross.
Well, we'll see. Obviously, my graph's not to scale, and that might be the case. Well, that's the idea. We'll try. Obviously, it started raining before I brought the car in to make working under a wet car utter fucking misery. Great. So the first step to taking the gearbox out is actually nothing to do with underneath the car at all. Because in order to get the stick out, you need to rip all the interior out. Yay! Why did I even bring it in the ramp? That was a bit of a dumb idea.
Take it back off.
Fuck's sake. Oh, good wetness! Oh, fuck's sake. Right, back in here again.
So at the same RPM, it's nah, I don't know what's going on now.
What do you mean?
So he's in first most of the time,
Yeah.
and then gets in second for a wee bit and has to go back to first. So the whole idea of the 6-speed is because you're going to end up with ratios, that second's almost in between first and second on that, so you can stay in second for quite a lot of time and it keeps you higher up in the RPM range.
Look.
But steel's heavier than feathers.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
It's good.
No, what will solve the problem?
A big Bobby.
Get yourself a 911.
Ah. Or phone 911. Having a wee look at this, trying to work out what's going to be the most efficient way to do this. Obviously the prop needs to come out, so we'll get the torque bar slackened and moved to the sides, get the prop out. Exhaust,
Downpipe,
probably
definitely.
the downpipe's going to have to come out because this whole thing will need to come back, which means that's going to get in the way. This bar comes out, and then yeah, obviously all the wee ancillary loomy clutchy nonsense that bolts onto it and will need to come out as well. But let's start by taking some of the oil out.
Wrong decisions are always on my mind. I was chasing yellow pouring from the sky. Was it summer rain? Endless summer rain. 'Cause it made me stay in your eyes. I read it once and only you matter. But you left me there and honestly dancing.
The power of people knowing what they're fucking doing. We are 15 minutes in. We have removed the prop, we have removed an exhaust.
And the downpipe.
Downpipe's just about off. By the way, the stunned attitude that we have that every single one of these nuts has come off without popping sheathing or even taking the stud with it.
Can't believe that the nuts have came off that downpipe.
It's a bit mad, isn't it? So genuinely, the next bit, I've already cracked the torque PPF bolts as well. So yeah, we're just going for the bell housing now. This is going well. Another 15 minutes in and we are at box drop stage. Starters off, all the flywheel bolts are out. We're just 2 PPF bolts to go and a tranny stand.
That's us, okay.
Yeah, so let's see if we're right or if we've completely forgot about a fucking bolt.
Interesting thing is how's the clutch, this fancy clutch going to be?
Well, that's the old, not fancy clutch, and as you can tell,
Oh, that's just the standard flywheel stuff?
standard clutch and
Oh,
flywheel.
right, okay, I thought you weren't sure if you'd done it or not.
No, this is all to go on. So that's the old one. So what we get to do now, boys and girls, is the entertaining how fucked have I made my car part of the car. Because I think the clutch is probably minced.
I've seen a lot of launches and stuff, hasn't
It's,
it?
it's had a hard wee life, as is the box. So let's do a side by side in the boxes and see what's involved.
Just watching that from the beginning again, the whole thing.
What's the oil like?
Go on. Hello, Brian. Welcome to the party. You want to be the. You can be the.
Power.
You can be the inspector. Let's see how many metal filings we have in our oil. Where did that come from?
I do like that kind of gold coloured. I can feel it myself.
Look, there's a big shared that. Is that a unicorn?
Let's see if I can get this to fucking focus.
That's quite a lot of stuff.
So, yeah,
First gear.
that's what's left of my gearbox.
Heavy pie.
We're just looking at all the material that come out of the
Gearbox oil.
Thoughts?
Lots.
Yeah.
Unicorn.
Not bad.
Not bad. There's some ridges.
Yeah, but
You can tell where the heats went and that. When I bought the car, I was instructed that there had been a very recent clutch put in it, and that was because apparently the owner's partner had decided to wear stilettos, drive the car and rode the clutch for a significant amount of miles, thus toasting the clutch. So I was never fully happy though with the clutch that they put in it. It's an amazing clutch. Looks like a decent quality clutch, but it was always quite rattly. And I think it might just be the release bearing more than the clutch. But it's always been one to watch.
it has seen some serious heat from the
From reasons.
from the autocross. I think.
From the one careful fat ginger owner.
As
The clutch isn't the problem here. Like I say, with most of everything that I found in this car, it's not being changed because it's dead. It's actually in really, really decent condition. It's almost a waste to have to do this, but fundamentally, it's not good, so it needs to be upgraded.
and we're not taking a gearbox off and putting an old clutch back on.
Not when we've got upgrades. There are two schools of thought when it comes to removing a clutch flywheel. One, where's the torch?
Yeah, one we need to see.
One would be you lock the engine through the crank bolt and blah blah blah, or you lock the flywheel, blah blah blah. Right, just get them a lock out. And that just does the job for you. That's the job. Bang, bang, bang. Yeah, bang, bang. Yeah, thank you very much. Obviously, we're not reusing the bolts.
Yeah.
Allow me to.
Yeah. Hold.
Oh, this? Right, sorry, I get you now. Right. Oh, look. No leaks. I don't even have a fucking crank seal leak. It's had one though.
I think it's definitely. I think when they've done the clutch, they've done it, haven't they?
Yeah, it looks like it. I mean, it had life in it.
It has seen some heat.
It's seen some action. Yeah.
No denying that.
Right, so side by sides for the 5 to 6 speed gearbox. First and the most obvious thing you want to be checking is plugs to make sure your looms match. Now I have some plugs. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. They're fine. That is 2-pin. Yep. 2-pin there, right? So they are literally side by side electrically
They're
the
just plug
same.
and play.
Shut up.
Just plug and play.
Plug and play. Bolt holes, well we know that the 6-speed went in the same lumps, that'll be fine. I have no history of this release bearing, but that's okay because something tells me. What?
Nothing.
You're what? What?
There's just oil in it, isn't there?
No, this is dry as a bone. And to do the change of release bearing, you need to go and get your new clutch kit. A long time ago, long enough for Brian to actually take it and buy me a replacement, I bought the needful for this task. You'll see shockproof oil. That's going in the diff because I've actually not really put decent oil on it. We've got ARPs for the flywheel, and we have also got, on the recommendation of people who know these things, the RTS Stage 1 clutch.
Well, people already trialled.
And it works very well with that turbo, so
230 at the
Yeah.
230 horsepower. That's fine.
yeah, so I'm going to imagine that this will be more than adequate for our purposes.
And it drives like stock.
It is.
It literally drives like standard.
Should
car,
we
doesn't
say, actually, why this will be fine for our purposes? Because I am conscious that we did kind of take an engine out of an MX5 in the last episode and then said nothing more about it. So, burying the lead somewhat, we should discuss what's the plan, right? So, year one of this championship, try and get my feet in it, get used to a relatively stock car. Obviously, we're going to then fuck with things considerably, and that is going to be using the following recipe.
As I say, last time it was stock engine, but now you need to win.
Thanks very much.
Coming fourth and fifth and stuff's all good, but now you need to win.
Aye, we've done a year, it's time for this. So the plan here is, rather than going the obvious route of turbocharging a car, we're dropping the 6-speed in for the gear ratio reasons we've discussed. What I'm then going to do with said ratios is have more engine RPM to utilise them. And that is going to involve upping the rev limit. So I'm going to build an engine here that's going to make 8,000 RPM a feasible option. Now, yes, I should point out, throttle bodies are not completely required for that task.
Well, no, I mean you could do it with a nice inlet and stuff like that, but it's you're doing autocross, so the response thing is a big
Yeah.
is a big factor in this. So,
As a result, throttle bodies are there.
and we can also tune these for, depending on the track, we can put longer trumpets on it, shorter trumpets, shift the power band around a wee bit. So
Yeah. So just to clarify, these are Maruhi, which are basically Gen Vs, right? So 1.8 specific, comes with Link G4 ECU, which is not.
plug and play.
So that we've now worked out is for a Mark 1, so all the plugs are wrong, so we'll get into that. Gently, gently, catchy monkey. I'm going to put the 6-speed in, and then we'll do October's RDR session and see how that works. Then November, I think we're going to put the throttle bodies on, unless we get a headwind up us, but I don't see that happen. I think we're going to have to do some prep with this before we're ready for throttle bodies. But I'm going to chuck throttle bodies on the stock 1.8 that I've got here now. Then, off season, we're going to build this guy.
Yeah.
And I mean, we're going to build it. So with the 1JZ build that we did, it was a bottom end forged build. We didn't really touch the head. This is going to be the polar opposite. I'm going to build the head and a bit of breathing on the block to make sure that this engine is going to scream its little nuts off and not grenade.
Yeah, this is all head work essentially. The power in this thing is all in the head. The compression obviously is a big thing as well, which again with these engines you can actually gain through the head by skimming quite large amounts off the head. So
We're talking millimeters.
yeah, you can get away with quite a lot. So 12 to 1-ish is kind of what you get with skimming these to as much as you can. But I mean, I suppose the key thing of this is it's not a build that's extremely complex. You know, like anybody that's taken engines apart, put one back together, could realistically build all these.
These are basic 4-pot 16-valve engines. They're not Hondas. They're not. This will not be VVTi, obviously. This just needs to scream. So that's what we're going to do. Anyway, clutch. Dealing with ARPs.
Yes, there's
When,
a protective oil coating on them, and if you're going to Loctite something, oily coating and Loctite is a very bad
Not a good combo. Not a good combo.
So
Brake cleaner.
spray, and white.
So you'll notice that it comes with fastener assembly lubrication. Now, what you don't want to do is douse the whole fucking bolt in that, because that will ensure that it will definitely come loose.
Yes, and your flywheel will go right through the car.
What you want to do with the assembly lube is, on the base,
Right here.
right there, that's where the lube goes. The lube allows the bolt to hit torque when you're torquing it. The Loctite, of which we have some here, that goes on the threads. And that perfect mixture, without any of them getting to contact each other,
Yes.
will ensure your flywheel does not slap you in the face. There is a cue. What we do when you're doing clutches is one person starts, and then when they get bored, this person goes, and then it's me. So we just stand in a wee queue. We've had to chap this. Point of note on these RTSs, these dowel pins are dowel pins. They are very, very tight, so we've been wrestling with that for a wee while, but just a wee light chap with a rubber mallet. They've went on. The good thing is, once you've chapped it on with the dowels though, this is actually quite nip tight, so you can more or less use that nip to just make sure this is bang in the centre, and obviously you're on the dowel pins at the same distance, bang in the centre, so as you torque that it should keep the clutch plate more or less bang on. But the proof is in trying to get that bastard on, because if it's not right, you're humped.
Yeah, it's not bad.
Anyway, let's tighten it. I will have tea. You alright? Anyway, so gearbox on, however, I don't think it's meant to do that. The wheel bolts are tight. Anyway, is it filming?
is a live action version.
To be fair, maybe they want to take. Boom! Right in the car! Well, we'll just try and gun that up and see what happens.
Yeah, I think it's worth a try.
Yeah.
I think it's worth a try.
I think it's worth a try.
I'll say it's 27.
I'll say it's
32.
Now I know how everyone else feels.
Oh no. It's
Well,
31 and a half.
What?
It's a 31 and a half.
The Imperial. 74, 60 seconds.
stop that nonsense.
You're the one.
It's not.
The fucking Imperial.
They're
chat.
not like that.
Ready?
That did not move.
Actually,
Nope.
Yep. If this is good, that we might need to delve a bit deeper as to why it caused it in the first place.
Do you know why?
This is not cranked into the
It's
fucking
not
TV.
It could be.
That take the splines right off that.
fucking fine.
Might not spin.
You need to get I'll spin the problem.
Yes, it is now fixed. Well, that was a quick fix.
That's what we like to see. 6-speed has been fitted, and what may have been a big problem, the wheel bearing has been resolved. That doesn't mean to say that we're done and I'm just going to go and race again. I have now still got 3 weeks before the next session, so I'm going to write myself a little snag list and see if we can a couple of extra wee tweaks before we go out for the penultimate session of the championship. So stay tuned to see what that's about. Like, bell, subscribe if you just found this. Patreon.com/ToolsandDrac if you want to support a bit more. Until next week, guys, stay safe.